anyway, let's just say I learned a lot of lessons about myself, about the poor, and about God's heart for them over that time. And that led me on a journey to where now I'm leading a church where 90% of the congregation are very, very poor.
Leaders, it is time to accelerate our leadership. Let's do it together. I'm Dustin J. Donnelly, and I'm pumped about today. We have a special guest with us. We are here at the Pioneer Center in Kidderminster, England. I drove about 5 hours to get here, Gareth. But I'm sitting here with Gareth, and you came a little further than that, didn't you? How long did it take you to get here?
It was about 13 hours of flying plus the 3-hour drive or so. So yeah,
it's not bad. You're from
Discipleship Church, yeah.
South Africa?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is that how you say it?
Discipleship Church, yeah, in a little town called Clarence,
in
the Free State province of South Africa.
Awesome. And I don't think I can even pronounce your last name correctly.
Gareth Oosthuyzen.
Oosthuyzen.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay, close enough, thank you. And on the show, you've been running that church now for 5 or 6 years, 5 years, something. Yeah. And so I just thought he could bring some value to us of someone who's led from experience, but also in a different culture. You were telling me earlier that when you first got into leadership, one of the hurdles was you're leading, but there's people that are older than you, wiser than you, more experienced that you're supposed to be leading. Yeah. Can you just give us a little bit about what was that like and how did you learn to handle that?
Yeah, no, I think what you just said, leading for 5 years, so you've got a bit of experience. I feel like I'm a beginner completely. Yeah. And, you realize there's people that have been doing it for a long time. And, I took over a team of kind of an eldership team where I was by far the youngest. The next oldest was 20 years older than me. And some of the guys even older than that. Most of them granddads, kind of friends with my dad kind of age. And I remember one Sunday morning kind of preaching my heart out. And not one of them, actually, another older man in the church came to me and very lovingly just said, Gareth, have you thought about seeing that passage a different way? And
I put some holes in it right away.
Well, yeah, and I felt challenged. I felt like he was questioning my leadership here, and I straight away defended myself and was like, well, actually, I did look at that and I felt that I didn't, and I'd never thought of what he had said.
But you're trying to look like you know what you're doing.
You're the leader. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have it all together. You got it. And God really spoke to me out of that, and just kind of getting to a point of going, I've not been called to lead this church because I'm the best person around, or I know my Bible better than everyone, therefore I'm the leader.
Sure.
It's just, no, God asked me to do this, and He knows my weakness and my strength.
Just being obedient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got to go back to that same guy and say to him, will you listen to my messages and cover my back for me? And hear what I say and come and help me if I get it wrong. He's been a Christian longer than I've been alive. So the thought that I can, of course he knows his Bible better than I do, and so I want to use that. I want you help me rather than feel intimidated by guys that are older.
Yeah. Instead of rejecting the criticism or being defensive. Just use it. That's cool.
Kind of just go, hey, I don't know everything. I'm not trying to be an all-together leader. I'm just doing what I feel God's asking me to do.
Yeah.
And do not rebuke an older man harshly. And it's kind of, I've worked out that you can lead older men. One of the guys I'm actually discipling at the moment used to give me lifts to school when I was 8 years old. So it's a bizarre thing. Nice. And there he is opening up to me about his struggles and his weakness, and we can pray together and I can lead him because he's got that humility as well. and I've got the grace to be able to lead him and serve him in that.
Cool. So humility is a big principle to have, or character trait.
Yeah, and not allowing people's expectation of you as the leader they can put you up there and go, you've got it all together, you're the leader. To very quickly make sure, no, don't let people put you up there, because it's a very hard place to lead from.
So when there's times when you have that burden of like, man, am I leading right? Are these people happy with me? Are these people not happy with me? How do you handle that sort of like inward kind of like struggle, or how that hits you, and just keep going? It's
definitely a challenge, especially when you've invested a lot in someone and you've got great dreams for them, and you can see the leadership, you can see the potential, and they can reject you or even reject God at times and go their own way. It can be very difficult to deal with and to kind of just overcome those disappointments. I've found at times I've got to just focus on the one or two good stories more than all the challenges along the way and the kind of the ones that don't work out. But one of the things that's helped me is just to realize that God's asked me to lead, and I'm accountable to God for how I lead people. I'm not accountable to God for how they live their lives. That's their accountability before God.
Gotcha. Like you're responsible to them, but not for them.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. So I will serve them. I'm going to love people as much as I can and invest as much as I can in them. But I can't make decisions for someone else. I can't. Sure. You can't be a crutch for people. You can't. You got to lead them, and they've got to live their lives. And to take encouragement out of where people take what they've got from you, from God, and go on and do great things. And those that don't, we've got to just, don't give up on them. We do fight for people.
Yeah.
We don't carry that burden of, if this person fails, I'm a failure as a leader, because none of us can carry that.
Yeah.
And none of us are going to have a perfect record of, everybody loves me. What the saying is, stop trying to make everyone like you. You're not chocolate.
Yeah.
So you got to deal with those disappointments. But and celebrate the successes.
Cool. How many people would you say you lead or look to you as the leader in your ministry? Congregation, elders, all that.
In our congregation, we're about 150 people.
Okay.
As a church, just over the years, what's happened is many other churches have been part of us and planted out of us, and so we carry a lot of responsibility for other churches as well, in serving other leadership teams. Yeah.
Cool. Because I think that's one of my questions I always find interesting is when you have hundreds of people, but yeah, you talk about discipling this guy, or we're all limited in the amount of people that we can spend loads of time with. How many people would you say you disciple more intimately?
I've gone with the very practical Jesus model.
Okay.
Of he had his disciples. There was a group of 100 and something that were often just following Jesus around, but then he would withdraw with the 12. And really invest in them. And so for me, I've got a group of similar to that number where guys I'll often meet with together, and we'll share our hearts, share our lives together. I'll teach a bit and that kind of, and I'll meet with them. And then, Jesus also had the 3 that were very close. And so for me, there's a few key people that I feel that these are people I want to give myself to see them succeed, and so really investing more even in those few as well. And do you
usually meet them in groups, or like one-on-one at your house or at a coffee shop, or what does that look like for you in South Africa?
So I work in a very cross-cultural environment where we have translation during meetings, because we've very much got a Basotho African culture as well as a white South African kind of culture coming together.
Because South Africa is very divided for a long time.
It is, and I mean we've got 11 official languages, so there's a lot of different cultures and things going on, and what you realize is every culture connects in a different way. So for some of the guys, I do it around food because they love it, and
if you serve food, they come.
If there's food, we connect.
Yeah, okay.
There's one or two guys that it'll be a walk in the mountains. That's when they're going to open up. You know, if I take them to a restaurant, they shut down completely because it's not where they're comfortable. And so it's kind of just working out, hey, where is this person? Where's their happy place? You know, and kind of let's be there because they're going to be more open and more free. So yeah, sometimes groups, some of them individually. We love having people in our home, just getting to see our lives as it really is, you know, of kids running everywhere and chaos and fun. But you know, and so we want people to have that realness of who we are as well.
Cool. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but I was just thinking about this. In my own ministry, there's so many girls that are starting to take big strides and like they can handle responsibility. They're more organized than me. They're great speakers, and I want them to be able to lead. Do you disciple girls as well as guys? Or how do you work with that?
Yeah, I'm really excited by what God's doing at the moment. I feel like there's a lot of women that are really, for me, that God's highlighting as real gifts and key people. One of my absolute top leaders is a woman, Topsy. She's phenomenal. She runs projects. She's kind of got an international ministry on her own, and we work together quite closely, but at the same time very careful of how we do that.
Sure.
And so yeah, I'm doing more investing into young ladies particularly, and you know, teaching gifts where I think we've neglected a bit in the past. We're quick to see a young man with gifting, but we're slower to see a young woman. And so we're really trying to identify the gifts and build into them as much as we can. And yeah, you know, group context works, making sure there's a mother somewhere that these young ladies can look to.
That's great.
It's helpful, yeah.
Connect them up. Here's the question of the day. In your context, in your culture, because obviously we could have viewers from different places around the world, but in your context, where do you find people feel the most comfortable to teach them and disciple in one-on-one or one-on-four groups? Do you go out in the woods and do it? Do you do it at your house? Do you do it at a restaurant? Do you do it at your business? What's the place that you find is you have the most success training people effectively when you're discipling people? How's that for a question? Is that pretty good?
That's a good question.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So signing off. Thanks guys for watching. Again, I really appreciate it. And hopefully that brought some value to you today. All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool.